Yen klurach stem rans him ein daie o dem lip haule gwell gulach noch kan bestai Gipai gunde Gipai gunde Gipai. The fish were very thick in the river in the ancient time. The oil of the fish made it moldy on the top. Yank means moldy. That's why they call it Siank. So we are the Gitxsan people. Some people would get mad whenever they call them that name, but I wouldn't get mad because it's very beautiful up here. That's where we live and that's where we're born. Yeah. When the first white people came, my great-great-grandmother said that some dogs bark, so she went out to look what it is. She ran back in to tell her grandmother that some monsters came. Their pants were great big holes on the knee and holes between the leg and got nothing to eat. So grandmother took in the monster and feed him till he's well fed, and he called the monster's name Ho'i. That's one of the chief's name. That's how they are in the olden days. They call the dogs the chief name. But now today the monsters took away all the hunting ground.
Anything that have nests under trees, the martin, fisher, or even the grouse, they all seem to have disappeared because when the things they start logging on them and they cut the trees down where the young animals are living, then they destroy them too because they can't see what's in a tree. They just never senses of destroying everything too.
And then they're coming back here and they're just slaughtering our trees. After these clear cut like this, well, your trapping is ruined completely.
There's a book also, 1901. Wetsuweten 1901. Time 11 years stuck on the project here.
You remember it. 1901 and 10 years before 1901.
Tibetlas Hussein, Tibetlas Hussein, the Catholic nursery.
They were told that whenever there's people coming in here, don't resist, is what the missionaries told them.
Well, the first farmer was in there. It's Ted Campbell. And there doesn't say anything about it, about that place, doesn't even bother us to picking berries. And after Ted Campbell's getting old and couldn't do anything, and the rest of them farmer coming in and put the sign in the fence.
One year later, 2 years after the young guys, young guys what they say horse just. Top down on his just. Theater.
It was 1 or 2 years later that the settlers started coming in. As soon as our people tried to resist, they were taken to jail.
When we go up then, I seen that sign right in the fence. No trespassing on. Couldn't get nothing out of there.
As you told, the end of 1901, most of you lots on here, bad people. Father Wallace, get lots on here.
When they were gathered in the house at Hagelgate, all the chiefs were sort of baptized all at once. They were also told that they'd have to give up the old ways. Back in 1958, the Department of Fisheries said that they wanted to improve our fishing in the canyon, at Hagelgate Canyon. And people wanted to ask them, how are you going to improve our fishing?
Talk white people, and white people, they don't understand our language. See? Stupid, eh?
Well, they said there's a rock in the canyon that's blocking stopping the fish from getting up to the spawning ground.
Well, that's the first time we hear that they're going to blast that rocks down there.
But our people said no, they wouldn't let them touch the canyon.
We was going to kill one of those, you know, 1 or 2.
The Department of Fisheries and their engineers came in and blew the rock out without our people's consent.
Gee, I was mad, and I loaded my gun still in there yet, 30-30. I loaded again, and then my mom said, what's out? She said, Marian, don't do that, she said. That's against the law, I said. And I told Mom, why did you tell me that? I said, I want to kill one of the stupid white guy, I said. They spoil our canyon now. How are we going to get some fish, I told Mom.
Once the rock was out, it finished the fishing for our people. our territories, they were sort of turned over to people that don't understand our system. The site we're standing on here is belongs to Gitxsan, who was a chief, house chief of the Wolf clan.
저거 저 그게 가서 하는 세. 탁서 리트. 아파서 세. 집에 해도 야,这是我这话还没说过。
The east boundary is Tatlo for Gitxsan territory, and the north boundary is the river, and the west boundary is west of the airport. And the other boundary is, he owns the ski hill. All along the ridge up to Tatlo, belong to Gitxsan.
Yeah, that's right.
Harness they're wearing, they wanted to pull it in Daco a year ago. Well, they've got the capability of getting right in there and walking away with that good-looking harness they got here this year.
If you take a look at the map that I've got on the wall here, we had 22,000 square miles. And in a matter of 40 years, our 22,000 square miles was reduced to 45 square miles. And again, this was a policy that was carried out by the federal and provincial governments to reduce our land holdings to just lands that were set up as reserves for Indian people. The fish is ours. The resources are ours. That it isn't only just on the reserves, as the federal government is saying and what the province is saying, that we've been saying that the fish belongs to us based on the territorial holdings that each of our houses have.
the land belongs to us. It's our ancestors' land and we know it. Yeah. I know how they value their hunting ground, their territory, because they are the real inheritance of their land. When we need it, we go up there and go up the mountain, get some mountain goat, groundhog. Grandmother used to cook them and all the people was there eat it.
Got a couple heads out there. Watch where I'm going, Bull.
Where's my William We used to pick in huckleberries there. One of our friends of us tried picking berries and that white guy who went to shoot him.
Oh, you quinn? Gitxsan. Gitxsan. Jump my. Not my. Nou, dan want ze zo
Must be airs.
Everybody wants ready now?
Ja, goed.
claim is really steep above that one. How about over here, where that goat is? We'll go along the ridge right here, and if we get a good shot, right over in there, and we'll get him. Okay, I'll wait here for you. Are you in the clear? It's too tough. Stay there. I'll wait here for you. Come on up. Okay. Out of the way of the rock. Yeah, come on up. Okay.
Heavy. Yeah. 12 altogether.
It's a nice goat. Ready? Wait now, I'll get underneath this. It's too heavy for it. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
All this represents all the clans in our territory. This is the frog, the Gitxsan, and the eagle, the Wetsuweten. Each clan control a territory throughout the whole land. Every time a territory is passed on to someone, there is always a feast.
Gitxsan.
Here you go.
Who's this?
Since you got your outdoor shoes on.
Who do you want? This is 5704. Really sorry, you got the wrong number. You're gonna break those glasses. Who's this? Hold on just a minute.
Worship God is at your gate. The land.
In the early days, they don't have a lot of things that what they have now, but they always have a feast, and they always have the name.
We're not talking about something that our ancestors used to do. This is something that we do today.
Worship God is a year worship. The land.
When it's appropriate time to put on a feast in your family, then all the names change hands accordingly. And so the names live on from many generations. So that is why our people they didn't stop having feasts, because it was our Indian government.
I want you to get I want you.
The feast is where transactions are validated, and one of the most important transactions is the transfer of names. The person who has just received a name is part of the governing body. It is an inauguration into a public position. Because the name goes with territory, a lot of authority is transferred from one person to another.
We get and hard go and go. That's a Willie. On them wars. You can watch Willie for years. That's a winner. Was neer en oest Israël.
So back in the late 1800s, they tried to stop our feasts, both the government and the church.
In the years of the 1920s and 1930s, there were people who went to jail when they were discovered holding feasts.
The bishop made them put all their ceremonial regalia into the fire and burnt everything.
For centuries, we have erected totem poles. When the Europeans arrived, they saw them as a pagan worship. In some cases, they even burnt them all down.
The early ministers in the early days made a great mistake. They think the Indians worship the idols, but it's very valuable to us. The name of my family hole is Last. That means one fire wheat. In the ancient time, the people scattered at the Mlachamet. The reason is there was a famine when they done something wrong. Two sisters went up to Gitxsan River with their only brother, and as they traveled together, the only brother starved to death. They got no food, and that's what they are looking for. And as they traveled after the brother died, they heard a drumming grouse. Then the younger sister lay down and she caught the grouse, and they remember their only brother that just died. And they cried, holding a grouse. All these histories will stand behind the land claims because they are true.
The common belief that is held by a lot of the people from outside is that the Indian government, the Indian jurisdiction, and the Indian authority that we have here is non-existent. That's not true. The land tenure system that we have, some of the traditional laws that we have are still being practiced today. The whole notions of the house territories, the notions of the authority of the individual chiefs and so forth is still recognized today, and people have to appreciate that.
Why some get? You know this will always what the scale yes and nay. Sagam dum listen. Hos magam me graag no te keer.
whenever a chief passed on, well, they passed it on to the next person from generation to generation until right up to date. Each person, each chief owner of each ground and different territory.
Our feast is always sort of a business transaction with witnesses there.
The business is conducted by the host clan. They contribute the expenses that are necessary and prepare the payments to the witnesses.
The acceptance of these goods means that people are really have acknowledged the truth. That's what it really boils down to.
$1,555 one balance is that. $555 for the other one. Shuluk, Stanley Williams, 100. Lily Jackson, 20.
In the early days, they used this groundhog skin or the caribou hide or anything like that. But nowadays, they use mostly clothing or cash.
$100 quicker. We get
The lady who's putting up this feast is expected to give the most, and those most closely related to her will be putting in the bulk of the money that will be collected in total.
$200 loose. $5 Store Williams. Arnold Johnson, Hazelton, $20.
You give according to the level of your rank, and to be fully active in the society, you are called upon to give up to a certain amount.
$100 Philip Wilson.
It is generally known that you will not embarrass a great chief by putting in more than he does.
$50 Spoke, Stephen Robinson, Dale Heck. Margaret Smart, $20 on ounce and Zach.
As one elder said, when we were young, the wealth of this territory went around and round amongst ourselves, and we all did very well.
The grand total for the family is $24,625.50.
The acceptance of these gifts are saying, the guests are telling us that everything that was said and done was correct. And the chiefs that are your guests, they get up one by one and they say everything is right and what you've said is true, and they say why it's true.
We get fancy mana.
If they're your neighbor in a traditional territory, they're reinforcing their territory as well.
They don't have map, but they all have their landmark for the boundaries or the creek or the mountain or anything like that, or canyon or the river. They have their own landmark.
You see the red rock? That's what we call Lumet. One Lumet. And then a little ways on the other side, Windsor del Hax. And then down this way, Winlogan.
This is our territory, Weirach's territory. It runs almost to those mountains, and the south boundary is the horse trail that runs right from Bear Lake into Kissigas. And we're actually sitting on Weirach's mountain. This is Weirach's mountain.
This lake over behind this little hill over here, that's called Weidach. It's on the map, it's Cunanut Lake. And then when you come down, there's a creek, big creek goes down in there, that's Sagagiot, goes out to Sugwinlaginch. Then this creek right in front of us goes down into Sagagiot. That's San Rask. And then Juptula is the next creek over, it goes into that. And then there's a little knoll over there that's called Our culture is alive. The names that have existed for creeks and lakes and mountains and springs over the entire territory still exist. The people with their own Indian names and their stories and their histories are alive, and the people living according to them.
Every person has a territory to look after, and it's all in our feast system, how we control our resources.
What the Crown has done is to say that they have the right to limit our Aboriginal title. This has been one of the main reasons why we have decided to take the matter to court. People have asked us, why are we going to a foreign court when we already say that we own the land? Basically, what our reply is that we are going to the Supreme Court of BC to restrain the province from exercising what they think is their jurisdiction in our territory. And basically what we're asking the courts to declare is that the jurisdiction of the province ends at our boundaries. spend a lot of our energies attacking the Fisheries Act because of people being charged for fishing on their own fishing territories and their fishing sites.
My grandfathers and their grandfathers, they used to take enough fish for for themselves for the winter, and then they used to take a little bit more to use as trade.
What's at issue right now is who has the jurisdiction to have the power to give an individual the right to access those fish and to do and dispose with those fish as they will.
And there are a lot of people right now that sell fish, but the white people call it a black market, and you know, we've been doing it all our lives. So.
Our people own the land. The federal crown and the provincial crown have no jurisdiction in our territory. We can give a positive economy on the fishery, and we can control the resource in our area.
We have a respect for the fish. We have respect for the animals. We want them to go on forever in the future. But we also know when to take them for the best benefit for ourselves and our children. And that's when we're going to do it.
The legal case is just a lever to get to where I think we should be going in the next few years. Then our own laws are going to apply. The Crown stole our land. We have to take back our land.
The railway goes through our territory, right through our reserves. The highway goes through our reserves. And the salmon resource goes through all of our reserves. There are many things that we could control in this territory that would be very difficult for the province and for Canada if our people decided to take more direct action.
the land belongs to us. It's our ancestors' land and we know it. Yeah. Nothing will separate us from that.